All right. So next we have Zarra Elias. She is an assistant general counsel for the Moffitt Cancer Center. She was recognized as one of the 40 under 40 by the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Please welcome Zarra Elias to the virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Good afternoon. My name is Zarra Elias, or good morning, good evening to all joining us from other parts of the world. Thank you so much for having me today. It is frankly humbling for me to join other speakers today because I know that they are successful and powerhouses in their respective areas. As Aditi shared earlier, I am the Assistant General Counsel for Employment Law for the H. Lee Moffitt Cancer Center and Research Institute, a world-renowned cancer center, cancer treatment and research center. Now, in my role, I am responsible for all aspects of labor employment law matters for the Cancer Center, Moffitt. I work closely with Moffitt's human resources team. Now, before I joined Moffitt, I was in private practice. I was a partner at Ackerman LLP, which is a top 100 U.S. law firm. I practiced and focused on labor and employment law in commercial litigation for Ackerman. Now, in light of my background and expertise, my clients included local, national, and international companies. I would say specifically Asian companies. I also serve as a board member of the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, which is the largest AAPI bar association in the nation, in which consists of over 60,000 AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander legal professionals. I'm also a board member of the Asian Bar Association here in Tampa Bay. Now, I will be discussing this afternoon two concepts, intersectionality and identity, and how these concepts really affect me and us, and really, frankly, all of us. And I hope that after my presentation, after this session, that you'll find it inspirational one way or another. Now, Kimberly Crenshaw, she is an American civil rights advocate. She coined the term intersectionality sometime in the 1980s. It describes really how race, class, and gender and other individual characteristics intersect with one another. Women, she noted, are really an array of identities, and that includes, for example, race, sexual orientation, and ethnicity. And that makes us really who we are and allow us to show up in spaces with multiple perspective and in our unique lived experiences. Now, in a symposium, back a bit, in a symposium that I attended and participated last month, I got asked these two questions related to intersectionality and identity. Number one, really the question was, how has intersectionality shaped me? Really, and the second question was, what are some of the experiences that have propelled me forward in my journey of empowerment? Now, let me tell you that intersectionality and identity are concepts that are really dear to me. They are dear to me because of my background, because of my race, because of my ethnicity, and because of really the experiences, my unique experiences based on those unique and characteristics, and they help shape the person that I am today. and really for all to have a better understanding as to why this topic, the two concepts are dear to me, I want to share a little bit more about my experiences. Really, these experiences have propelled me forward in my journey of empowerment. I was born and raised in Tondo. This is a town in Manila, Philippines, known for two main things. Number one is the slums. You're seeing it right now. And the second thing that Tondo is known for is Smoky Mountain. It is a garbage dump site so big, people started calling it a mountain. Now, my birth father almost killed my mother twice when she was pregnant with me because he was an alcoholic and an addict. He tried to wrap an electric cord around my mother's neck once and then chased her with a butcher knife the second time he tried to kill her or us. My parents separated shortly after I was born. And although my mother graduated college in Manila with an accounting degree, she decided to work abroad, specifically Hong Kong, as a domestic helper to earn more so that she could provide me. She could give me a brighter future. My mother really battled loneliness in a foreign country, while my grandmother, my lola, which is Tagalog for grandmother, while my lola raised me in Manila. I excelled in school and really wasn't always an honor student. That was a way for me, really my way of thanking my mom and my grandma for their sacrifices and really for raising me. I also constantly reminded myself that this dark-skinned Filipino who grew up in the slums could and would one day really get my family out of poverty. I graduated second in my class when I graduated from grade school in Manila. Now, when I was 11, my mother and I moved to Hong Kong. My mother constantly sought ways to give me a better life, and moving to Hong Kong was a way to open up more opportunities for us to achieve that. But my mom could not afford to send me to an international school, so I ended up attending a public Chinese high school. Now, for those of you who do not know, unfortunately, Filipinos are regarded as second-class citizens in Hong Kong. That's the sad reality, really primarily because of the number of Filipino domestic helpers working there. And couple that with the fact that I was not fluent in Chinese when we first moved to Hong Kong. I suffered really discrimination and racism, particularly in school. I still remember vividly my first day of school. I stood outside the classroom, really trembling. I could hear laughter, loud chatters from students, from the young, from my fellows, and really, I was nervous. I didn't know if I should go in because, again, I was not fluent in Chinese then. And when I stepped in that classroom, I heard gasp. I heard gasp as I walked towards all the way back. I would tell you, all the way back to the end of the classroom. And for days, really, no one dared to come near me. I was an alien, I was dark skinned, I was a foreigner, an intruder, and it was difficult for me to communicate with my fellow classmates at that time because I was not fluent in Chinese. And how I ended up overcoming that uh, is I ended up staying in class after school uh, to learn the Chinese language. I was very fortunate that I had a Chinese teacher who stayed with me and really provided me with extra lessons. I ended up becoming uh, fluent, not just verbally or orally. I learned how to read and write Chinese. I even became an honor student. And I remember I actually even once received an award for the best Chinese essay. Now, I was 16 years old when my mother met my stepfather. My stepfather is an American. And when he learned that I was interested in pursuing a law degree, he suggested that my mom and I move to the US. And that's because Hong Kong only has a handful of universities or handful of universities where I could obtain a law degree. And frankly, at 16, I hated the plan of moving yet again. To me, it once again, we would be moving to a completely new environment. I was really traumatized when we initially moved to Hong Kong. So the prospect of moving to the US did not appeal to me right away. I was a teenager and I felt that I had an established family and circle of friends in Hong Kong. So moving yet to to a new country, a new country where I would know no one was something that I rejected. But then again, my mother knew better. She knew that moving to the U.S. would open up more opportunities for us and really for me. So I was 18 years old when we immigrated to the United States, Tampa, Florida, to be exact. I attended and graduated with high honors with an associate's degree from the Hillsborough Community College. I transferred and subsequently obtained my bachelor's degree, graduating summa cum laude from the University of South Florida here in Tampa, Florida. Now, to get to law school, as some of you may know, I needed to take the LSAT. That is the standardized exam for prospective law students. Now, when I did not get a high LSAT score, my LSAT instructor told me not to even bother applying for my top law school choice. My top law school choice was University of Florida, Levin College of Law. She told me not to even bother because my score was too low, and University of Florida, Levin College of Law is a top tier law school and the best law school in Florida. But guess what? I applied anyway because I graduated summa cum laude. I was very much involved when I was in college at the University of South Florida. And I know that overall, if you look at the complete package, if you look at my complete application, I stood out from the rest. And I got in. I got in University of Florida, Levin College of Law, my top choice. Now, when I graduated from law school in 2010, the economy and job prospects for newly law graduates were horrific. Uh, but then again, I was eager to start practicing law. But then another setback. I failed the bar exam on my first try. It was soul crushing. It was soul crushing. But guess what? I pushed myself and took it again. Took it again, and I passed. And I tell people that I cherish my law degree even more because it took me twice as hard to get it. And guess what? I tell people that it doesn't really matter that I failed it the first time. The most important thing was that I passed it and got it done. I got it done. Now, after passing the bar exam, I paved my path. I worked for a small law firm and then transitioned to a mid-sized firm before I eventually ended up working for Ackerman. It's a big law firm, but as I noted earlier, it's a top 100 law firm in the nation. And I am now the Assistant General Counsel for Employment Law, the subject matter expert for the Moffitt Cancer Center. Look, my husband has told me that I have this uncanny ability to power or push through, to stay, I would say, optimistic and focus on getting things done. I remember telling him or asking him, I should say, how could I not, in light of my background, my experiences, my makeup, my family, and my journey. I attribute that all to intersectionality. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that I didn't cover much about my experience as a legal professional, because I have been a practicing attorney for almost 12 years now. But let me tell you that racism, sexism, discrimination, inequality are all extremely familiar concepts to me. Not only because I practice and focus on labor and employment law, but because I have experienced them firsthand. For starters, I am a double minority, and I'm a double minority who's been trying to break both the glass and the bamboo ceilings. And frankly, I could go on and on with examples. I was told once by a Caucasian male partner that I should attend a hearing instead of him. And I could just simply sit pretty in front of the judge and I win the hearing just by sitting pretty in front of the judge. In another situation, I learned that two Caucasian male attorneys, my equals, received higher compensation when my collection numbers were higher than theirs. Now, going back to intersectionality, I want you all to know that it still very much exists in today's society. Some view intersectionality in a negative light because they focus on the negative experiences associated with it. For example, discrimination, inequality, racism. And I get it. But unlike others, I view intersectionality in a more positive light. To me, what others deem to be issues surrounding or flowing from intersectionality shouldn't really define you or us in a negative manner. Now, in light of everything I shared with you all about my background, I want you all to instead focus on these things that I'm going to share with you. Number one, embrace the fact that you are different, that you are made up of interwoven identities based on your background that make you stand out from the rest, that make you a valuable member of your team, your organization, or any other group to which you belong. The second thing is, remember that your past, however negative that may be, happened to help shape the amazing person you are now. You are uniquely beautiful and talented because of your race, your sex, your gender, ethnicity, social background, and any other characteristics in your unique experiences. And third, with that, to keep on climbing and continuing your path to success, remember to embrace the fact that we are all different. We're all different, and that you are surrounded by diverse individuals who help shape today's society and who will, one way or another, teach you something about life that would help propel you to your own journey of empowerment. And I hope that you will want to learn more about what makes them different, what makes them unique, and really to empathize with them. But I want you to be genuine about it when you do that. And number four, know the importance of showing up and amplifying the voices of those diverse individuals that surround you. Don't have the mindset that you have to wait for the perfect opportunity to do it. Make it a habit. Make it a habit. Even as little as voicing your agreement to what the person has said, to what that person has said during a meeting, is a step. Number five is be grateful. Even for all the negativity that happened, all the negative experiences, because I tell you, negativity is a learning and teaching moment for you. And lastly, continue to push yourself. Continue to push yourself to make a better version of you. Speak up and advocate for yourself. Practice self-empowerment. Constantly remind yourself that you are stronger. You are more resilient than you think you are. Thank you all for sharing this time to learn more about intersectionality and for listening to my journey of empowerment.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you for sharing what true resilience is. Your story really demonstrated breaking through obstacles and creating possibility where other people may think is not available to them, but you created that path. And that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love your point about embracing your differences. So many times we're trying to fit in with everyone else, but really what makes us unique is what is going to allow us to create the impact in the world that we want and live the fulfilling life that we're able to.